What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Vaney Hariri. I'm one of the co-founders of a company called Think 3D. We specialize in leadership development training and organizational culture consulting, and that's a lot. But I want to show you my space, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about my story and how we got here. So I'm gonna give you a quick tour of our office. So we are located in downtown Sioux Falls in the 8th and Railroad building. We love being in here with all of the great businesses that are operating in here. This is our office. We have several folks that work for us. So right now we have a staff of 5, including myself. So when you come in here, actually you see this big honking screen right here. This is one of the things that we use for some of the different virtual trainings that we do. We do a leadership development training, and we kind of do it with this piece that kind of catches the room with this camera, and we can see everything on here. This is one of the big things that we have, which is we have a lot of different sayings and things that we have up. This one is culture is the new currency. And we say that because money isn't everything for people. Where they get to work, who they get to work with, what they get to do is what's really important. And so culture is currency. Over here is what we call the Think 3D way. So these are things that we believe that are really important to us, that kind of tell the story of what we want to achieve. Things like, don't do it for the money, do it for what the money does. You know, stay focused on the things that really matter to you. Things like have a standard. Good enough is not good enough. We want to make sure that we're always raising the bar, trying to do it at a high level. The other piece is, another one here is, don't be sorry, be better. No situation is made better by feeling bad, so own your mistakes quickly, accept your feedback with appreciation, and get better. Consequences are earned. So everybody has to get better every day here. So this is where we meet generally, right here at this conference table. We have this big whiteboard because we're always coming up with ideas, and we're always having to think about what we're doing with clients. Those orange things that you see on the whiteboard are what we call rocket boards. And so what happens is that allows us to write things on the whiteboard and then scan them in with an app and then send them out to whoever needs them. It's pretty cool. Over here, we have a seating area where we talk and conference with folks and do that type of thing. Now we're gonna go take a look at where we do a lot of the fun stuff, which is over here in the studio. So excited about that. So this is what we call Thinker Networks. And Thinker Networks is where we do a lot of the production for Think 3D for our clients and just things that we put out in the community. Let's take a look. So this is our small studio where we do some various things. And this is where we do a lot of our different podcasts, Tamian and I. So we do that in here. As you can see, we have a lot of gear in here, a lot of various different things that we use for stuff. We try to keep it organized. One of our workstations where we do a lot of the editing and various things that you will all see coming out. And then there is the big space where all of the magic happens. And this is where we get an opportunity to talk to folks like you. This is where we get a chance to interview great people in the community. This is where we get to broadcast the things that we think are important, that we want to see. And that was the big part of why we started Think 3D. We worked for banks for a long time, my business partner and I. And in a lot of those places, what we realized is that there was a lot of leaders who were not prepared to be leaders, and they weren't focused on the culture. They weren't focused on the environment that people were in and how it affected their families and how it affected their homes and how it affected their dreams and aspirations, their mental health, their emotional health, their physical health. And what we decided was we wanted to do something different. We wanted to create an environment where people could truly be their full selves. And so we knew that we needed to work with organizations to help them intentionally design a culture and to develop the type of leaders that can help build that culture and maintain that culture. So when you go to work, which is where you spend most of the time, and be happy. Let me give you an example. The average working professional who starts their working career at the age of 18, and most of you will start working earlier, and lives to the national life expectancy of 78 and retires at the national retirement age of 67 will have spent 40 of their 60 adult years working. Think about that. That's 80% of your adult life working. And the average professional is going to spend anywhere from 45 to 70% of their waking hours working. That means when you talk about going to work, being at work, thinking about work, being frustrated about work, all of those things, getting ready for work, you're going to spend most of your time working. And so, if you're going to spend most of your time working, more than you pursue your passions, more than you spend with your family, doesn't it make sense that you enjoy where you work? Doesn't it make sense that you love where you're at? Well, the same thing is true about school. When you're young, you're going to spend most of your time at school, more than you spend with your parents, more than you spend pursuing your passions or having fun. So if that's the case, why wouldn't you make it as good as you can make it? Why wouldn't you try to have good relationships with everyone? Why wouldn't you try to have loving and respectful and appreciative relationships with your teachers, with your staff, your custodial folks, everyone, right? Your nutrition staff. Why wouldn't you want to create an environment where you can enjoy yourself for all of those hours you're going to spend in that space? So that's why we started Think 3D. Now, there's probably a lot of people who didn't see me here because I wasn't necessarily the best student. But the one thing that I realized is that in the future, you don't necessarily know what you're going to want to do. In fact, the jobs that many of you will work don't even exist yet, which is why it is so important that when you are in the walls of that school, whether virtual or physical, you are taking everything that's available to you. Because when you don't know what's coming, take everything that you can. Prepare. And then that way, you'll have the abilities to be able to shift and move and pivot as your life goes on. Maybe 10 years from now, you want to do one thing. Maybe 20 years from now, you want to do something else. But you want to have options. And the way that you get options is to take it all. Because options are freedom. When you have choices, that's what freedom is. But when you only know how to do a thing, when you only know how to do what you like, and you don't know how to do what you don't, when you only know how to work when it's easy, but you don't know how to work when it's hard, that's when you're not free. That's when you don't have choices. There's only one thing for you to do. But when you know how to do multiple things, and you know how to work with all different types of people in all different types of ways, you have options. You can make your reality, you can make your community whatever you want. That's the other thing that we're really passionate about is our community, folks like you. The reason why we do things like this is because we didn't always have people doing this when we were young, especially people that looked like me. And we want to make sure that we give you everything that you need to make this world what you want to make it. We've seen over the past couple years that there's a lot of things ripping this country apart, ripping this world apart. And what we know is that the only people who could put it back together, the only people that could hold it together are leaders, people who believe in doing the right thing, that care about people, that want to have a quality of life, that want to be creative, that want to be flexible and fun and energetic and all of the things that help you enjoy your environments. We know that the only people who are equipped to do that are well-trained leaders. And that's why we love JA. That's why we love all of the amazing educators that you all have in your lives. And that's why we always are willing to give our time and our energy to young folks like you, because you're going to be running this thing. And we want to help build leaders that we will be willing to follow. So my challenge to you would be this. Dig into your work, not just the stuff that you like, but embrace the things that you don't. You're learning more than just the subject. You're learning how to produce things. You're learning how to meet deadlines. You're learning how to work with people you don't necessarily want to work with. You're learning how to do things you don't necessarily want to do. And that's going to come in handy, whether you work for yourself or whether you work for someone else. The other thing that I would tell you to do is make your environment the best you can make it. There's no excuse and there's no reason for you ever to get up in the morning and be okay with not being happy. You need to be fighting for it every single solitary day. And you need to want it for the other people in your life. Make sure you're giving to your community. This is where you live. This is where your children will live. This is where your spouse will live. Make your community the best that you can make it. Work hard for it, because then you won't want to escape it. Then it can give something back to you. And lastly, know that you are responsible for your happiness. You are responsible for feeling good about yourself. So the only way that you could be a quality leader is if you realize that you are good enough to do it, you are important enough to do it, Have faith in yourself, have confidence in your abilities, and be responsible for your own happiness. So every day that you wake up, and every day that you either log on or you go to the physical building and be educated, embrace it, soak it in, enjoy it. Enjoy the time that you get to spend with people. This is the only time in your life where the world will suspend its expectations of you so that you can learn. Because as soon as you get into the game, it's go, go, go. So make sure that you're ready. If you need us, we're here for you. We appreciate you. I hope that you appreciate all of the people who make things like this possible. And we'll keep doing our best to make sure that we can develop leaders that are ready to be good leaders for you, so you can be good leaders for someone else. So again, my name is Vaney Hariri, one of the co-founders of Think 3D, the Culture Consultants, and we appreciate you taking time to listen to this.